Good morning, everyone. I wanted to talk coronavirus in case you weren't sick of it already. I spent the weekend in Copenhagen, and mask mandates have only recently been enacted in Denmark. So I haven't really experienced being in a big city with a mask before now, and I think it's really interesting. I began to notice a lot of things. Partially, a city space is full of advertisements and codes vying for your attention and trying to grab you and prompt you into action and stimulate those base desires in the human condition that kind of make them want things and long for things. And and of course that energy is essentially it's the two lower chakras, but of course because they're related to digestion and procreation, they're also related to ingestion, so they're related to the mouth. And I noticed wearing a mask that it actually it has a lot of beneficial side effects that hasn't got anything to do with fighting the virus, but essentially it's because it becomes unpleasant to breathe rapidly in it. So naturally, I find that you tune into a more of what is called a samarithi breath, which is a breath that has an equal proportion between inhale and exhales and the holds between. So, for instance, a count of four and an inhale, and then a hold of four, and then an exhale of four, and then um, holding the breath out for four. And it's just a very natural way to breathe once you wear a mask, because it gets unpleasant if you don't keep the pauses, and so the mask doesn't get to cool off. And I found that really interesting because, again, my sensation, or my sense of this virus, and what has also come through the Lyrans, for instance, on it, is that it's more of a type of, well, external lesson that we're collectively manifesting ourselves in order to adjust our attitudes into a place where we're actually able to survive and grow as a species. And so I find it really interesting that this mask mandate is forcing a lot of us to actually go into our internal spaces and also deny that impulse to constantly eat or smoke or talk or feed your mouth with the content, so to speak, which is different shapes of a pacifier. And that's interesting. Also, Copenhagen is a fairly alienated city. Of course, like Northerners are pretty standoffish, and at least in when you come to our country, we are, and it has that sense of no one knows anyone that goes on in the big cities. So I also found that it's interesting uh, that wearing a mask actually brings that to the forefront. So it's a reality that's already present, but that becomes so prevalent in your experience that you're cut off from your fellow human beings. And it's also being surrounded by so many people. I actually find it far easier to, for instance, on the subway, to experience people's energetic profile by looking at their eyes instead of reducing them to the types that you easily do when you're navigating through a space with thousands and thousands of people. So I think it's interesting that if you remember the toilet paper scare, which was also, as the Lyrans pointed out, connected to that clenching of yes, of the rectal muscles, which is connected to a tightening and a fear reaction. And now it seems with the mask mandate that it has also begun to at least change our relationship to the oral circuits and our relationship to immediate satisfaction and gratification that goes through the mouth. And I think that's probably very challenging for us as a species and as a culture. And it seems that what what we are learning, to my impression, is in many ways to take it easy, and to accept that there are things beyond our control, and it's from that point that we can actually begin to act from our own limited perspective and possibilities, which is always where we, every one of us, go from. So with that preliminary talk, I thought I would also like to get an Arcturian update on this. And it's been a long time since I feel since we talked with the Arcturians, and their energy is very present for me these days. And it's hard for me to put into words how much I just dig these guys. So let's hear from Umblam on what they have to say about the progress of the planet and the coronavirus at present. Sweet ones, dear ones, loved ones, you ask us, you greet us, and you want us to know that you seek answers to your predicaments in this experience. We can give them to you, but we point out that you are perfectly capable of handling whatever you want to do in this lifetime. It's a lesson that I, Umblam of the Arcturian Council, and all of my star family counterparts from the Galactic Federation have reminded you of time and time again. You are infinite creators, and so you have created this situation and this space in order to teach yourself a lesson that goes for the human species as a collective, but it also goes for you as an individual. What situation do you find yourself in? How did the karmic patterns running through you manifest into this? How do you perceive outer authority? Are you scared? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Do you feel helpless or uncertain? Or is there a wayward spirit awakening within you, wanting to carry out its own agendas and then to heck with it all? We see you going there, beautiful star family. To us, you are already there with us, that place where you have overcome. And notice, it is true, this is the beginning of the reshaping of your species. Often when you envision other alien species, you sometimes remove the eyes and you remove the mouth and you prolong the eyes. You amplify what is mental and what experiences the world in a calm and careful manner. And you leave out those things that you intuitively know actually often may have left or led yourself or another particular human being astray. Those needs to fill yourself with external stimuli. It can be pleasurable, but it can also be a pleasure that chases its own tail down into a maelstrom of forgetfulness. You are arising, and the waves you are riding on, they are breaking on the shorelines of a new world that is coming your way. Please consider realigning with those vibrations we offer you flowing in from the Akashic field surrounding you. There is a purplish light, a sacred oil, allowing for tender spots in your memories, in your energetics, in your joints, in your muscles, on your skin. It allows for them to dissipate and let in the flowing life force that heals and regenerates. You become rejuvenated even by listening to these words. Then imagine how rejuvenated you will become when that sacred balm that runs from the ever flowing river into your experience, it descends and it baptizes you into the remembrance of what life was like before you learned to forget. It's an eternal and perennial message, but these are the promised times. These are the times when humans are jumping into a recognition of their potential, and so do not feel small, do not feel encumbered. Try instead, as this vessel has just tried to present to you, to find the silver lining in those restrictions and impediments you face. Take it easy, but take it. Take action, take heed, take notice, and then you will be all right. There are signs hiding everywhere in your experience. Figure out what they are telling you by asking, how is this something that I can see as aiding me in my understanding? We will give you our love, and we will give you this advice before I and the rest of my Arcturian brethren bless you with an incantation set to heal your soul and related to the body it experiences itself as in this moment. It rings for you, our loved one. It rings eternally. Eternal you are, loved you are, love you are. Always be well in this knowledge. Farewell.